Greetings all. I hope that you guys are good. Yeah, so today we're going to be having a look at the Sasol chart. So let us get straight into the chart without wasting any further time. So you guys can see that I've got the monthly chart open of Sasol, and we can already see that we had a very nice M structure in this region, with the neckline being somewhere in this region over here, right? We saw price break the neckline to the bottom and then head up to retest the neckline and then push further down. So we would have looked for selling opportunities at this point, and that is because when it comes to formations, ideally would love to see price break the neckline to the bottom and then head back up to the neckline to retest it, and this is where we would look for selling opportunities, as the anticipation is that price would move further down to complete the structure, and that's exactly what happened in this region over here, right? Similarly, we also have at the bottom this structure over here, which is a W structure, and we had price break the neckline of that W structure, and then we saw it come back again to the neckline to retest it, and this is where we would have looked for buying opportunities, and that is because as with M formations, when it comes to W structures, ideally would love to see price break that neckline to the top side, come back to the neckline to retest it, and this is where we would look for buying opportunities, right? As the anticipation is that price would move further up from there, and that's exactly what happened on this particular chart, right? Um, Another thing that is also very much interesting is the fact that as much as we have this M structure over here, with the neckline being over here, um, price came back to the neckline, as you guys can see, which is now actually a resistance area, and we saw that price tested that resistance area, broke it quite a bit, but then it seems as if it is getting ready to push further down, right? So that's what may happen next, and that is also because, as I said, we have this W structure over here, and the neckline of the W structure is over here. And what may happen is price may come back again to the neckline to retest it once forth. And that is because this neckline is also a very strong area of resistance, sorry, of support, right? Um, so what I'm gonna do now is just mark those areas so that we don't forget about them as we move further down into the various charts. So this is the neckline of that W structure, which is now also a very strong area of support. Similarly, as I said, um, we also have the neckline of this huge W structure over here, right? Which is now a very strong area of resistance. As I said, the or rather price broke this area to the top side, um, and we can see that the last or the current month's candle seems to be projecting this area, which is now support. And as much as I say that price may be getting ready to move further down, it may actually start moving further up, because like I said, as you can see, this particular candlestick is in the process of rejecting that particular area. However, the month is still ongoing, and what may happen is it may close below this zone over here, and if it does so, chances are that price will move further down to at least this area over here, right? So what else do we see on the monthly chart that we should be paying very close attention to? On the monthly chart, we also have let's see, we also have this candlestick over here. It is a liquidity candlestick, and it tells me that price at some point needs to head down to grab that liquidity. So there is scope for price to move further down, right? So let's see, what else do we see on this chart? I don't see much on this monthly chart, so what I'm going to do now is head down to the weekly chart. Just bear with me. Right, so here we are on the weekly chart. So what do we see on this weekly chart that we should be very much paying attention to? On the weekly chart, I can see that we have a gap over here, as you guys can see. I think it'll be better visible as we head down to the smaller time frames. However, when it comes to gaps, gaps are areas of high liquidity, and they tell us that at some point the market needs to head back, or rather head up to the zone to just grab that liquidity, and from there possibly push further down or even further up, right? So I'm gonna mark that area because it is also very much important. So just bear with me. There goes our gap. There we go. Right. So we know that in the future price has to go up there to fill that gap, right? So what else do we see on the weekly chart that we should be paying attention to? Let's see. Hmm. I don't see much on this particular chart. I'm just gonna head down to the daily chart. As I said, guys, the gap would be better visible on the lower time frames, such as the daily time frame. So indeed, we do have a lot of liquidity there, and the market needs to grab that liquidity at some point or another, right? So what else do we see on this chart that we should be paying attention to? Let's see. So we can see that the market also created a head and shoulders pattern in this region, with this being the left hand shoulder, this being the head, and this being the right hand shoulder. However, we can see that the move played itself out as it started here and ended here. So we can just disregard this head and shoulders pattern, because, as I say, it has played itself out, right? So what else do we see on this chart that we should be um, paying attention to? We also have in this region what seems to be a gap there, and that also tells us that the market needs to grab that, or rather head up to that level to fill that gap, because as I said, gaps represent liquidity. So I'm just gonna also mark that zone because it is also very much important. Just bear with me. There we go. So as much as I say, guys, that we had in this region this head and shoulders pattern, we also have a W structure in this zone actually happening. It's actually an overextended W structure where the first leg is higher than the second leg. And just remember that when it comes to W structures, a lot of traders and investors buy on the second leg of that W structure. So in this area over here, we have a whole lot of investors and traders who have bought, and they have put their stop losses just below this area over here. So that tells us that actually there's a whole lot of um, liquidity at this level in the form of stop losses. And what may actually happen in the future is that the market may push further down to trigger all of those stop losses and then possibly push further up from there, right? Yeah, so that's the daily chart. Is there anything else that we see on this daily chart that is particularly interesting or that we should be paying attention to? Yeah, so as much as I say we have this overextended head and shoulders pattern, the neckline is somewhere in this region and has not been broken as yet. Should the neckline be broken to the upside, what I would do is wait for price to head back to the neckline again to retest it, and I would look for further buying opportunities at this point. And my first take profit would be at least the zone where we have that candle filling area that needs to take place. And my second take profit zone would be this level over here, which is the high of this W structure. This is where it would be complete in my humble opinion. Also, just bear in mind that we have this candlestick over here. It is also a liquidity candlestick, and it confirms that in the future price indeed has to come to that point to grab that liquidity. So there is plenty of scope for price at the moment to move up, because number one, as I said, we have this W structure, and I think it needs to be completed at that level. We also have this gap at that level, which needs to be grabbed by the market. there's this level as well, which also is a liquidity area and needs to be grabbed by the market. And we have at the top that candlestick, which is a bullish candlestick with a small body and a long upper wick, which tells us that there's a whole lot of liquidity sitting at that level, right? So what else do we see on this chart that we should be paying attention to? Let's see. I don't see much at this stage. So what I'm gonna do now is actually head down to the H4 chart. However, before I do so, I think I should just add my daily channel. Just bear with me while I do so. Let's see. How would I add my daily channel? This is how I would add my daily channel. Just bear with me. There we go. So can you guys see that price has actually closed on the upside of this channel, which is further confirmation that indeed the market is getting ready to push further up to at least this area, and then this area, and then that area, as I had mentioned, right? um so so what else do we see on this chart that is interesting or that we should be paying attention to? I don't see much at this stage, so I'm just going to head down to the H4 chart. Just bear with me. So here we are on the H4 chart. I'm just going to fix my channel. Just bear with me. Here we go. Apologies for the background noise if you can hear it. I'm just at an area where I normally don't record it. Nonetheless, let's focus on this. So here we are on the H4 chart. What do we see on the H4 chart? Is there anything interesting? So price seems to be forming a head and shoulders pattern in this region, with this being the left hand shoulder, this being the head, and this being the right hand shoulder. And the neckline should be somewhere in this region over here. And as I said, guys, the neckline is yet to be broken, and ideally I would love to see price break above the neckline and then come back to retest it. And this is where I would look for possible buying opportunities. But my ultimate level or my ultimate take profit, I think, should be this zone over here. Nonetheless, these two zones would also do because they are also very important levels. Yeah, so that is it, guys, as far as my analysis goes for Sasol. Yeah, it seems as if we are about to embark on a on a journey up as opposed to down. Nonetheless, just bear in mind that because of this W structure over here that I spoke about on the daily chart, we have a lot of stop losses that are here because a lot of traders and investors bought on that second leg of that W structure, right? So just keep that in the back of your mind, and that price, as much as it has closed above or on the upside of this trend line, may actually push further down to trigger all those stop losses, and then only move up from there, forming a very nice W formation, right? So that is it, guys, and as far as my analysis goes for Cecil. Peace out.